unwrapping tool. So we have a building here, and if we have selected this building, we have this blue edge around the object. So let's just maybe delete everything unusable, what we don't need to have on the scene. So we need to have only a building here in the middle of the screen. So first of all, let's just understand one thing, that if you build everything from my last tutorial, which I upload on YouTube, you should have different objects like windows and doors, like that, in your building. So the first thing what we need to do right now is to attach everything in one simple object. So to do that, we just use that attach button. So if you selected your object and switch to editable poly mode, you will find here in the edit geometry tab the attach button. So by pressing that button, it should be highlighted with the blue color. That means that it's active right now. So if the attach button is active, you can just found objects in the scene which is not in the family of that object, for example that windows. So by pressing on the window with the press it attach button, you just put your windows inside of our object. So like that, you can see that all the other objects are merged with our building. So right now the building with the windows and with the doors actually is one single object. So basically it's important thing to do before we start to create unwrap, because it's much easier to work with the object like that when it's single mesh. So about unwrap, basically let's just try to understand what unwrap means. Let's go to Sketchfab once again, and maybe I will put here downloadable. It's easier to explain here how to unwrap actually works. So this is our building, which we already talked about last lesson. So let's download it. Should be already here. Where is this downloads? So here is it. So you don't need to download it right now, it's just for explanation of unwrap, because I can see that in that building we already have unwrapped stuff and textured stuff. So yeah, basically this is our building which we downloaded, and you can see here that this building actually is created from the different parts, but we will do a much more simpler one. Another useful feature for us, it's a hide and an unhide object. You you will need to learn that. Uh, it's really simple to do. You just need to press right mouse button on your building, and here you will find a menu where you just need to use the hide unselected. If you select something, you just use the hide unselected. That will give you a chance to see only a selected object on your scene. And to unhide everything, you just need to press right button again and use the unhide all button. So yeah, let's just see how this actually building was created from the texture point of view. So let's hide everything on the scene. We see a building here, pretty the same as we should have, and here in the modifier list, if your building is selected, we will find the unwrap. Unwrap UVW. This is the thing what we need to work with. So by choosing that, there is another different tools appear, and we will explore all those tools and how to work with those. So basically what we need to do first is to use that open UV editor button. So if you will press on it, you will find the unwrap of your building. Oh, sorry. Yeah, here in the edit UV window, we will have a lot of different tools, and it could be pretty confusion to understand it from the first sight, but we will just use a few of those. And this ones is pretty the same as we have here. It's for movements, it's for scaling and rotation. Why we need to use those? Here in that right part of the screen, in the top part, I can choose an image to see how a texture work with my unwrap. So by pressing here, I can see the image which use it for unwrapping for my building, and how actually all the parts of my building are placed on the image. So basically, if I go here, there is a selections, and here also the selections. For example, if I want to select the wall, I need to make sure that the polygon mode is turned on here on the selection of unwrap. So now I can select the walls and see where all these walls actually place it on the unwrap, like this. Yeah, this is the roof, this is another part of the roof. That's it. And for example, if I just want to move something or rotate, you can see straightly on my building that I just move this part somewhere like this. So I think this is enough to know for start, and now I will begin to create an unwrap for our existing building which we made from the previous lecture. So this is our building with the merged parts in one object. Once again, we use unwrap. So you need to find here unwrap UVW. It's pretty easy if you will just press here and start typing on your keyboard, unwrap. So if you will start typing, it will be automatically select here. And now by pressing it, you can see that it appears on top of my editable poly modifier. That means that this unwrap actually works with my edit poly. If I will try to get back, you will see the warning message which means that if you will just change something on your topology, it will be not work with your existing unwrap. I will show what I'm talking about right now. So in unwrap, as I said before, there is a OpenUV editor button which we need to use. So by pressing it, we will see our existing unwrap for a building. Right now it looks like a one square. Looks like it's not work properly. That means that even our rectangular shape of the wall right now is placed as just a square here. And how to fix that and how to understand which parts actually it's good for us and which parts it's not so good. So the first thing what we need to do is just a little bit of work with the material editor. I already showed this before, but let's just repeat again. So there is a button of material editor. By default it should be looks like that, but we will work with more simpler one. By pressing here and hold, you can switch to a classical one, material editor. So now you just need to select one of these circles here, and if your object is selected, you can use that button to assign a material, or you can just drag and drop this material on your building to assign it. By doing that, your material right now is assigned to your building. Maybe you will have a different colors, it depends on the version of your 3ds Max. So, and what actually we need to do here, if your material is empty, you will find here a Fong base materials tab, which is really useful for texturing and for unwrapping also. So to understand the scale and the brokenness of our unwraps, we just need to assign a checker material to see how actually our texture will be placed on top of our model. So in the diffuse map there is a little square. By pressing on it, we will just found the material map browser with different options. For now we just need to use a checker. So the checker will give you a number of squares around your texture, which give us a chance to just see how scale of our object will work. So, and another important thing, that right now our material is assigned, but we didn't see it on our model. To see it, we just need to use that show shaded material in the viewport button, this little square with the circle with the checker inside, like that. And now we can see our material is appeared on the building, and we can see that the checker itself is pretty big, and we can't actually arrange the unwrap. We can't see how it's distorted by the shapes. So to see more info about the checker, here in the coordinates of the checker, make sure that you will found this coordinate tab here. We need to place 20 by 20 as a tiling. Yeah. So if you will choose the 20 by 20 tiling, you will see that our actual squares starts to be smaller, and you can see that our squares right now looks more as a rectangulars, but we don't need to have rectangulars. We need to create everything is clear squares as we have in our checker. For example, this window it's already good enough to be on the unwrap, but it's placed on the wrong place. So let's begin from the wall. So there is two different ways how to select the polygons to unwrap those. We will use selections in the scene. To do that, there is a button to select your polygons. You can choose again the vertex, the edges, but for us the polygons is much more useful. So right now I select that the huge wall here, and if it's selected, you can just go here in mapping tool, and there is a flatten mapping button. By pressing it, you will see this window will appear it with different options. We just keep everything with default settings. It should work correct. And now you can see that our unwrap is unwrapped, and we can see that everything is clear here, but the squares, it's still not the squarish. Yeah, but somehow flatten mapping, it's not work really good enough for us. If you will see that squares, it's not squarish enough, you just need to relax it automatically. You always can use the scale button here and just scale it with the shift button by the different axes like that. But I prefer to do everything automatically. It's more clear, it's more understandable by the systems, and to make that squares exactly as they should be, to unwrap everything really clearly, just need to go to the tools here and use a relax, and here again we will just keep everything by default and just press here on the start relax. So yeah, basically it should be relaxed. This is really strange. Okay, so I feel like my building right now have some problems, because by doing relax I still don't have a squares here. What we do next if we will found that problem? That means that our forms actually not really good exported. To fix the forms, we need to go to the utilities menu. In the utilities, there is a reset xform button. By pressing it, there is another button appears, reset selected. You just need to reset xforms from here, then you just need to press this button here and go back to modify window. Here you can see that xform will be appeared on top of everything. what we need to do next is just to click right button on it and press collapse all. You will see some warning message here, but we don't care about that. It's just a notification that you will not have a chance to go back after that. Yeah, and now let's just turn our unwrap again. You can see that unwrap is turned. Now we will go to open UV editor again. Let's select that wall again and let's do relax from the tools. Here you should use this relax by polygons mode and just press start relax. And again something happened really strange here. Yeah, it's just not refreshed. So right now you can see that if I just move it here, it starts to be more squarish as I expect actually before. So yeah, we repair our X form right now and everything is really square. What another thing we need to understand here in our edit to V window, there is a square here. This is our working area. When we will use a texture map, we will just put the texture inside of this square and everything will be here in this place. So basically what we need to do in the end of unwrapping, we need to place all our parts inside of this square. For now it doesn't matter how you will fit those, because you always will need to have an image to work with. For example, right over here we have a wall. Let's just use another walls to make those more beautiful. So if you unwrap something, it will be in the center. You can just put the ready part somewhere in the bottom part of your screen, for example. Another thing what I forgot to mention, that if you will select everything by polygons, sometimes your objects will not move so correctly. To select by the objects, by the elements, you just need to turn this button and now you can move the whole object which is selected like this. And to select the polygons again, you need to turn this thing off. And once again, let's just select another wall, go to the flatten mapping and press OK here. You can see our wall actually right now is rotated. To rotate it, we will use the quick transform tool from here, or you always can just press with your right mouse button on the polygon and choose rotate, but I expect you guys to use this rotation because it's rotate by the 90 degrees like that. So let's switch to the move again. Basically these three parts is already, they are ready, but you can see the scaling, it's not the same, for example on that wall and on this wall. We will fix that later. The first thing to do is to unwrap all the parts, and after that we will work with the scaling. So let's select another wall, go to flatten mapping, so yeah, all the four walls right now is unwrapped. let's go to the roof. Also there is a F3 button which could be useful for unwrapping. If you will press F3, you will see your building without the shapes. So basically F3 means that you just switch from the flat color to the wireframe like this. So again, flatten this part. Let's do all together these three parts as a one part, maybe even all the roof. If we will select the whole roof here, we can just make a flattened mapping for all the roof. Oh no, it's not work, but it's okay. We can work with that. You can see that these parts actually connected in one single mesh, and these two parts are not connected. So to connect all these parts all together, we can use this stitching method, for example. If you select that triangle here, also to turn on and turn off the selection, you can use a F2 button. So if you have some struggle with your selections or shape methods or something in viewport, you always can just try to use the F4, F3 and F2 to just navigate how the different methods of selections will work for you. So yeah, by now we select this triangle here, and we can see that it should be connected with that part of our unwrap. It should be highlighted with the blue color like this. And to connect it, we need to switch to the edges right now. If we will switch to the edges, now we can select the edges, and now we can see that this edge will be connected with that edge, and that edge will be connected with that edge. So the first thing what we need to do is select all these three edges. You just need to hold Ctrl button and select all these three edges. Now you just press that stitch custom button like this, and our part will be connected to that part. And here's the same. We just select all these three edges here and use that stitch custom button to connect that triangle. So right now you can see that the whole roof actually looks like a one single object right now. So let's just use the relax to see what result it will give to us. So relax tool will appear, and we just use the start relax. And you can see that sometimes it's not really good for us to connect these parts. Yeah, you can see that the mesh actually can't be relaxed if this part will be connected, because the flatness of that surfaces don't give a chance to be a flat in all the directions, because it just don't have a space here. So we need to cut these triangles back to just see our roof as it was before. To do that, you just need to select these two triangles here, and there is a break. You can see here in the tools, by pressing the right button, there is a break button. By pressing break, you cut these parts again from the roof, and now just press relax. You can see here that our roof unwrap much more gently with the squares. And let's use a relax here also. Yeah, right now it's much better. Yeah, sometimes it's not a good thing to connect something. You can see that why our roof actually can't be relaxed, because if you relax something, that object, your edges will try to be connected with together, and if they will be connected, they will be just stretch your checker. We don't want to have this problem here. Yeah. So what else we need to unwrap here? So the first thing is a door. Okay, let's put the roof somewhere here right now. We don't need to work with it anymore. About the doors, you can see that sometimes you will find the problems to select some of your polygons if they are pretty close with each other. You can try to use that selected by thing and turn off the ignore back facing, but still it's still problematic. Yeah, but if you have a problem to select, for example, this door, you just need to click several times. Yeah, and then the computer will try to find the object which you want to select. So by pressing here on the door, I can just use a flat mapping and relax the frame. So the frame, it's a little bit tricky because it have a depth inside and outside. When we select the frame of our door, let's go again with the flat mapping, and you can see that it will unwrap all this frame with the different parts, like that. And like that. So this is okay for us because we will work with the textures in a more easiest way as it possibly could be. So let's place this part here, and the same with the windows. Just do the same thing with all the windows. And with all the frames. So here is a little trick how to select the frames. For example, if you will just select the polygons here, you always can use that plus button here to just grow your selection. Oh, sorry, not here, over here. If we will select the polygons on the model, there is a plus button here. By pressing it, you can see our selection is grow by one polygon from all the directions. So now again, let's go to the flat mapping. Now let's do the same with the window. Let's do that way. flat mapping, and the same thing with that. So that's it. Actually, our building right now, it's unwrap it and place it somehow all together in the unwrap window, but we need to place it in this little square here to adjust it with the image. To do that, we need to use that arrange elements button here. So we can always try to pack together button like this. It will pack it, but sometimes it will not pack it in the square. To pack it in the square of our image, we need to use that button, but it will just place it not really clearly. I not really like to texture if, for example, our frame parts, it's all together, place it somewhere. So let's do another way. This is our actually building. You can just use a Ctrl Z several times to let's get back to the beginning, and let's place everything manually. So the first thing what we need to do is rescale. So there is a rescale button. If we will just press on it, everything will be rescaled. And again, it's not really comfortable to work with that objects because they overlap each other. The best thing is just to use a selection to place it all the objects in the different places to understand where is it. So this is a door with the frame. Also we have a roof inside. Yeah, we need to unwrap it like this, and let's rescale it. Or maybe we don't need to rescale it. Let's do it just that way, because we never see what we'll have on the bottom part of our roof. You can see that some of the objects will overlap each other. Sometimes it's really tricky to to work with that. You need to just move a little bit everything. So yeah, let's call this the first part of our lecture. I will just